Now, in the United States, the trial of the police officer whom they believe is responsible for the death of George Floyd has begun in the United States, where the opening arguments have been relatively slow-moving at this point in time, but it seems like the amount of time where the police officer's knee was on George Floyd's neck was longer than first anticipated. But as Andrew Bolt spoke quite eloquently about earlier this evening, the mob justice part of this is really dangerous. Where, put simply, if a defence can be mounted where beyond a reasonable doubt can't be achieved, then this person who is charged with this death is going to escape the most serious of charges and potentially all charges, because that's the system that we live in. But there are people who are ready to riot, waiting to riot, and in part they are being stoked by idiots like this on CNN.
If you can do this in broad daylight and not go to jail, it will be perceived as open season, telling police officers from coast to coast, you can literally get away with murder in broad daylight. This is the system on trial for a generation.
No. Well, I'm not going to defend the police officer. It's about, did the police officer kill George Floyd? We all have a pretty obvious view if you've seen the tape. But if you have read as much as possible, then it'll be interesting to see what a jury concludes here. But that anything but guilty of anything but the most serious version of the charge equals we riot, that is a really, really dangerous thing to be suggesting. But it'll be something that, of course, because it comes from a bloke like Van Jones, nothing to see here. If it came from a right-wing commentator, they'd demand that person would be off the air, because that'd be another version of mob justice.